Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. What is going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us. We are here in today's Coreteam annual trip roundtable discussion. Really excited to be here with you today. Thank you for joining us for this exclusive piece of Coreteam content. My name is Isaiah. I'll be hosting the discussion, and we're really happy to welcome all of you to this conversation today. And with us today, we have a number of Coreteam team members who were actually able to attend the trip, some who were there in previous trips, members who helped plan the trip as well. And they're all going to do their best to make me feel FOMO today because I haven't been to any of them. So thank you for being here once again. To introduce our lovely guests, first of all, we have Miss Ines Casimiro. She's our internal recruitment manager. We have Miss Maria Barote. She is our HR operations manager. Miss Rebecca Trotman, our operations manager. Mr. Rami Najim, the director of global workday practice, and Mr. Raul Carvalho, who is our group marketing director, and of course our CEO, fearless leader, Mr. Paul Bogle. Everybody, thank you for being here. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
Thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you, Isaiah.
I can feel the excitement seeping through. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm good. Looking forward to this, having a conversation with you guys. It's been a tough week, so good to relax with you guys now.
Let's get it. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. Once again, thank you all for joining the video and hanging out with us for a bit. Let's go ahead and get started by setting the scene. So I'd love to throw it over to Mr. Paul. First of all, Paul, can you give us an idea of the vision behind organizing this annual trip and why it's important to the overall Coreteam company culture?
When we started the company, or when I was thinking about starting the company, I was having a look at what I really wanted to do and what was missing from my life. And what was missing from my life really was experiences and actually having a job that treated me like an adult, and empowered me and really took my life into consideration. And so I thought about a company that where people could be themselves, right? There could be a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, a daughter, a son, whatever, and still be able to follow their ambitions at work. And that meant that we made active decision to hire skills over location. So that meant that our team was spread out all over the world. And after 2 years, we really started to realize actually there were members of our team that we hadn't spoken to. Well, we had spoken to them, but we hadn't met them face to face or shake their hands in any way. And as the team started to grow, we started to segregate a little bit into different cultures and different places. And for even a business our size, that was 20 people at the time, spread out over 3 or 4 countries, we were just thinking it's when we're not one. We were several teams, several pieces of a puzzle that were just sort of sitting in different rooms at that moment in time, trying to fit together. And that's really where we thought, okay, previously, and it's not always about reinventing the wheel and trying to go out there and do something that think, oh, nobody's done it before. Sometimes you've got to take the best of what other people are doing well. And when I then looked at my previous experience, one of the things that really helped me get closer to my colleagues was time away with them. So that's where we thought, okay, everybody works so hard, why not set up a company trip where we actually bring everybody together with no important thing was there was no other, you didn't need to do anything to qualify apart from be here. If you were a member, if you're a permanent member with us, and you'd been through with us for a certain number of time, you were coming on this trip. And the first trip really that was our first attempt to see, okay, we had people coming from Philippines, we had people coming from India, from USA, from Portugal, from London. Say it was 5 or 6 different nationalities coming together at the same time. And that was really the goal, to try to see, okay, can we create a space where we bring so many different cultures together, where people aren't necessarily going to meet each other or talk to each other. And more importantly, can we create that one experience that perhaps you wouldn't go out there and do on your own? That one memory you can take away and you can take away for life. It's about, the last 4 years, 5 years, the world's been through such a transition that, it's, people have got detached from work. Leaders of a business are no longer, able to communicate with most of their employees because they're no longer in an office. They're working from home. People want freedom to go and do different things. Yes, the positive is it brings you freedom of life. It allows you to prioritize personal life over work. But what it also does is it disengages you with the company vision, the company story, the company mission, and how you fit into that company. You know, and this is our once a year chance to really drive that message home that, you know, you're more than just a number. You do matter to us.
I also want to hear from Raul. Paul mentioned the values and the missions of Coreteam and how that reflects on the vision of this trip. I would love to hear from you. How does this event reflect Coreteam's values, and how is that communicated to the broader Coreteam community?
Yeah, thank you, Isaiah. To talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, right? It's not enough to say good things and praise. You need to get in action and actually do stuff. And I think this event is the proof that Coreteam is truly a people-first company. And for us, this means that everyone around us, our customers, candidates, our partners, and most importantly, our people, are the most valuable thing for us. And this event is probably our biggest effort to reinforce this sense of community that we experience every day on our day-to-day life, on our interactions with the team. So it's another step to reinforce this sense of community. And I think the importance that goes beyond the team is that these bonds that we create go beyond these 4 days that this group of people get together and share experience, right? We every single interaction that we have with external parts, being customers, partners, candidates again, this goes to them. They feel that our people are happier, that we are connected. So I think the impact is more. It's bigger than we actually see.
Yeah, well said. We're going to jump into the planning process and, of course, the trip itself. Before we do, I'd love to go around the room real quick and just hear one word that you would use to describe this last trip. Rebecca, I know you weren't there this last time, but you're gonna give us a word to describe the last two. So we'll see. I will let you. I'm thinking you can go last, so you can you can maybe top them.
I'll wait.
So let's throw it over to Ines first, and then we'll go Maria and we'll go around the room. Ines, one word to describe the trip.
So thank you, Isaiah. That's a great question. So for me, it would be connection, definitely. I think this is my word, but also a lot of my colleagues would use the same word as well. This is a word that I heard a lot during the trip, just connection, meeting obviously new faces, but being able to have the opportunity to finally have a full-on talk, a full-on conversation with people that, I've met maybe just once during the recruitment process, and then maybe I didn't even have the chance to actually get to know them on a deeper level. So yeah, definitely connection on my side.
Connection, that's a good one to start. Maria, what would you say?
Well, in my opinion, these trips are nothing more but engagement, all about engagement. I think everyone that returns from a Coreteam company trip returns to their home more engaged to the company, to their colleagues. In terms of collaboration, we are actually in contact with people that we don't speak with on a daily basis. So there is connections intra departments as well. We get to know each other, and it's really important to have the opportunity to do it in person and not with the screen in between. It makes all the difference, and people just are more engaged, and I'm sure it will reflect on employee satisfaction and retention as well. So there's loads of subjects attached to this, but my word chosen for now is engagement.
You can tell she works in HR, right?
Engagement, connection, engagement. Let's go. Rami, what would you give us?
So actually, Raul stole my word when he was describing his response to the earlier question, but it's community. I think as a smaller, more boutique organization, I already feel a bigger sense of community at Coreteam than I have at any other organization that I've worked with. And then I think seeing everyone in person and connecting with everyone made me realize we really are a community, an infinitely diverse community. So that's one of the big things that I took away, is that actually we all come together from different walks, corners, shapes, sizes, you name it. We all come together in this one cohesive community. So that's my word.
We got connection, engagement, community. They're stealing all the good ones. Raul, let's throw it over to you next.
Okay, so Rebecca's gonna have the hardest part being
I
last.
think I am, mate. I think he's
But-
left me to last to really mess me up.
No, she's
But,
cooking
well-
over there. I think Rebecca's cooking something up.
But it's good. It's good to be last. At least I'm enjoying not being the first because I get to think more about it as people answer. So I actually, the first thing that came to my mind was in his word, connection. So I had to go and think a bit more about
Think
it.
again.
And I actually, the second word that immediately popped up was discovery for me. Discovery in the sense that you think you know people, you work with them every day, you see them every day, you talk to them every day, but then when you are in person, you discover that there's much more after that, right?
Mhm.
So we are much more than our day-to-day interactions and work, and we get to a personal level. So it's discovery of the people we work with, but also from ourselves. I think it's also a growing experience interacting with all these different people from all around the world, from all these different areas. So for me, discovery.
Discovery's good. Discovery's a good one. He's coming in late with the solid
Come on,
entry.
Rebecca. Come on, Paul.
Rebecca, drum roll stuff, saved the best for last, giving us a word to cover the last two trips, which, by the way, I'm not sure if you've said this yet, but the first trip was in Greece. Second trip was Portugal. This most recent one you have mentioned was in Istanbul. Rebecca, what word would you give us to describe the last two?
Well, I would have had a whole host of words. All of you have said it, but now I've literally just got, I'm annoyed with you, I'm annoyed with you, I'm annoyed with you because you've taken all my words. So, I mean, I can only echo everything everyone said, right? But for me, I really felt like the relationships that I already had with my colleagues, I felt that I bonded with every single one of them. Those who I didn't have a relationship with or hadn't connected with them on a regular basis, I bonded with them. There were so many opportunities, whether it was sitting in the hotel lobby, whether it was waiting for a taxi, whether it was giving someone a lift on the back of the quad bike at 3 a.m., whether it was having lunch, whether it's having breakfast or dinner or on the boat or going for a surf. We had so many opportunities just to connect and to bond. And I think that was the most important thing about all of the trips that I've been on. I was fortunate enough to go to Mykonos in Greece. That was amazing. And Porto in Portugal, Raul's hometown, once again, amazing. I have major FOMO, and I want to use that word, FOMO, because I had fear of missing out this last trip. I did miss out on this last trip, but it was also nice for me to see everyone on the trip had the same experiences I've had on previous ones where they all bonded. And I think that's really, really important. So for me, my word of the day is bonded.
Bonded. We got a good host of words: connection, engagement, community, discovery, bonding, bonded. Looking forward to dive into exactly what brought those words to mind. We heard a little bit already. Let's talk a little bit about the planning process. So I know many of you had a hand in actually planning and organizing, making this come to life, because it doesn't happen by itself. I know Rami took the lead. First of all, I'd love to throw it over to you, Rami. How did the logistics come together? I'm sure there was a lot going on to ensure a successful trip.
I think Rebecca was very key in putting together a team rather than doling out tasks. Rebecca put together a team that were able to draw on various different strengths of each individual. Katie is who works to help book our trips. She's very good at that particular part. Maria's, who obviously looks after our HR, took a bit of the lead with the visa activities for our Indian team. We also had visa activities for our Philippines team. So we drew on the strengths of various different individuals. One of my hobbies is endlessly scrolling through TripAdvisor and associated websites. So I was able to bring that to the table in terms of general research. But there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of people spread globally across pretty much the entirety of the world, spanning from the US through Europe, Asia, and the Far East as well. So it's quite a logistical challenge to get all of those people and understand all of those visa requirements into one location at the same time. But I think we pulled it off really well.
And if I can jump, sorry,
Rebecca, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, I think it is key to prepare and to plan for a trip like this, because I mean, we've had some unfortunate times in our previous trips where some people's visas have actually got declined, and that for us as an organization and as a team is really upsetting. So we were lucky to have almost a full house this time around, but unfortunately we have to be very, very specific about where we go, because visa applications are really tough for certain countries, depending on what country you go to. I think us in Europe, we're pretty lucky to be able to travel to most places and not have to really think about a visa. So it's actually made us just become more inclusive and more aware of all of our colleagues around the world. So I think that's really important for us as a team as well.
Personally, I think it was quite easy to organise.
Of course it was.
It's only delegated to a few people. You're in charge. Good luck.
I think you're muted.
There was a point going on. I said, well, you had the right people on it. You had the right people on it, Paul. That's good leadership. And
Yeah, I think Charlotte was on the trip, and on the way back, she summed it up. She kept repeating it. She was, so you know, that this trip had, for her, it had culture, it had a bit of fun, it had relaxing, it had the sea, it had, you know, pretty much it touched on everything just in enough little bits that it could. Of course, we could have done more, but the things that we did, it touched on all the 3 or 4 things that are important to somebody when they go overseas.
Maria, I saw you were going to say something, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Rebecca stole my words, so I was just going to say that this time we had the best result ever in terms of visas applications, actually. So last times it was quite frustrating because after all the work we saw some people staying behind, and this time it was amazing. I mean, of course we unfortunately had some people that weren't able to join, but until now it was the best so far. And in terms of organization, it was amazing, Rami. I mean, it was really great. I mean, in terms of activities and everything, the schedule was amazing.
Yeah. Well, in terms of agenda, Paul was saying that we had everything, a bit of everything, that people really enjoyed it. And I remember that we always have this struggle, which is we want to give so much to the team. We want them to go through every experience that is available in that town. And we do this big agenda. And at the end, we need to cut things because we need to give time for the team to be together and relaxed. So I would say that was one of the struggles that I remember we had, because we wanted to give a lot, but if you give a lot, then it's the opposite, right? People don't have fun, they are running from one side. So I think that was a big achievement also, the balance between activities.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I definitely, when I'm looking at my vacation, I definitely plan where I'm going to sleep very, very, very carefully in that agenda.
I think it was also the Rami, when you organised this, how did you feel about all the firsts you created on this? Like, you know, the number of people in the India team had never even been on a plane before, let alone overseas, and then we had people in the US who'd, like every US person, you know, they've flown internally in the US, but had never been actually overseas. So, you know, there was those. And then on the days when, you know, the yacht you arranged, how many people on the boat had never been on a yacht before? So how did you feel like when you were, I mean, all of you, how did you guys feel with seeing that us as a team, us as a company, we're creating all of these firsts?
I can say in absolute confidence that seeing that and hearing it makes any level of challenge or organization required to make the trip immediately worth it. with no question.
Yeah.
So I remember one of our colleagues, Anand, so he works in our consulting team. His first time being on a plane, and he said it was an interesting experience. Then it was his first time being on a yacht, and then it was his first time in a Turkish hammam. I think it was the first time in Turkish hammam for pretty much all of us. But I remember him turning around at that point and saying, every first time is better than the last. And I thought, well, just for that smile and that comment, like it's worth doing this and putting in the effort and spending the money and taking everyone's time out. It's worth it.
Totally agree. And by the way, I know I say I wasn't there, but actually I was there on the boat. It's just I was actually sat in my living room in my dressing gown in southwest London, in Wimbledon, on my phone, and Tanzi is calling me, and I'm answering it because I want to speak to Tanzi. I want to make sure she's having a great time. And she's like, Rebecca, and I'm like, I'm in my dressing gown, but I'm so glad you're having such a great time. So yeah, apologies to everyone who saw me in my dressing gown.
But we're not even on the same level.
I'm
You
just,
and me.
yeah, I'm mad.
I have even more FOMO then, because I didn't even get a call from
I know. What can I say?
Dude, at least Rebecca was wearing a dressing gown. These guys had a
True.
hell of an experience at the end.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
It
was worse.
Ines, what were you gonna say?
Could have been worse.
I was agreeing. I mean, definitely, we were joking to each other, the girls, on the spa day. We couldn't get much more connected than that, because definitely, it was an experience. And I remember one of the girls, she asked me, so is this a family trip? And I said, no, actually, my boss is right there. She gave me this funny look. So that was definitely a great experience to have.
I would ask, just to wrap up this section on the planning process, we heard, I think, from Rami a little bit on this subject, but for the rest of you, what was the most rewarding part of bringing everyone together?
Don't everybody go at once.
So I can go ahead and start. I completely agree when Paul just started asking about those first times. That was immediately where my mind went when you asked that question. I mean, hearing other people's perspectives. I mean, I live in Portugal. I've lived here my whole life. So the ocean for me is like our front door. I mean, the most natural thing, but honestly, it gives you perspective. Like Raul was touching on in the beginning, you know all of your colleagues, but you know them on like a work surface level almost. And then when you get with these people, and even the Portuguese team, I would say, when you get with these people and it's like every day and at night as well, you really are able to just get a different perspective from people. And, some things didn't even cross your mind before of, how different some cultures are and how you can come together at the same time doing the exact same thing almost. I mean, we have different roles, but you know what I mean? And yeah, that definitely I've already experienced last year, this year even more, because I mean, last year it was in Portugal. So being in a different culture with the whole team, I mean, definitely, I would almost say it makes me feel proud to be part of it. Yeah.
Almost proud. What the?
Almost proud?
Almost.
Almost.
You said it was almost
really
make
proud.
you feel proud.
Oh, I did say that. Oh my god. I didn't get that. Sorry. No, it made me feel really, really proud. Just to make that clear.
Anyone else? Any other comments on the most rewarding part?
I mean, I think for me, working in a virtual environment, there's so much that you can gain in terms of, flexibility. You can fit in with people's lifestyles. I mean, I can take myself, for example. I have a young family, so I have 2 children that go to 2 different schools. I've got a whole house full of animals and pets and all sorts. I also have my most difficult person to look after, which is my husband, and he travels a lot. So for me, working virtually, it's golden for me. And the fact that I get to work with people and feel appreciated, and I feel like I am developing within my organization, still carrying on with my career and be able to do a good job, that for me is also really important. But the one thing that a lot of virtual companies don't do well is they really struggle to bring people together. They really struggle to create a culture, create a community. And I think the good thing about working within Coreteam is the importance on bringing everybody together is so key. It's so core for Coreteam. And I think that's the most rewarding part of this, is we could have a whole bunch of Lone Rangers, a whole bunch of you know, these units, these teams that work in silos together. We can try and create this community within our organization. But really, we can't get away from the fact that there is a basic human element, and it is contact. And I think having these trips enables us to get that basic human element. And you know what? Clearly doesn't have to happen on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We do it once a year. Some of us might need other times, but it's there. It's so important.
You were mentioning that, Rebecca, and it reminded me of the last day, where it was the last night. We all went out and we had to have dinner. Some people went to the hotel earlier, others stay a bit longer. The ones that
ended up in a fun place.
Ended up in a fun place, danced a bit, then we returned to the hotel. We know they returned to the hotel. And at the end of the night, everyone was together in the hotel bar, in the lobby. Yeah. And there was this moment that I came and a bit far, and everyone was laughing, talking to someone, having a good time. And it was late. People had planes to catch in 1 or 2 hours. And that for me was the most rewarding moment, because I could see that no one there wanted to end it. You know, people were grabbing to the moment, to the experience. So for me, that was the most rewarding moment of the entire thing, I have to say.
You didn't want to go home. Nope.
Yeah, you could see it on people's faces. Yeah. Everyone was happy. Everyone knew they want there to leave, and everyone was, because on other days people, I need to rest, and they would go to their rooms, and some stay, some right. On that last day, you could see that everyone was holding on to the moment. So that was really, really fun.
I wonder how many people were like in the taxi on the way home, instead of saying to their significant other, I've landed, I'm in the taxi, I'm on my way home. How many of those people actually in those taxis are like saying to the rest of the Coreteam group, I'm in a taxi, I'm so sad, it's over.
They were too busy creating content for Instagram.
No, I don't know, Rebecca, I don't know that. I shared the taxi with 4 people. I can tell you all 4 of them were sleeping the entire way.
I mean...
Yes, Ines. I wasn't talking about you, Ines, but go ahead.
That's the young Portuguese team that apparently are, supposed to be young and hip. Now, one of the most rewarding things there is my passion is developing people, right? So I firmly believe that if you want to build a company, me as the leader of the business, I shouldn't be focusing on the end result or the products that we're providing. I need to focus on the people within this business and make sure that they're all happy and I'm getting the best out of them. And this is the one chance, I was able to spend time with every single person, right? Get to meet every single person and learn about every single person, see people in different environments, see how they react in different situations, and what are people like in an environment that's completely alien to them. It was amazing to see the bravery, in people that you thought maybe, this person's going to be in a shell, and they completely surprise you, And so that was nice for me. That was the most exciting thing, being surprised by the personalities that everybody had, right? The different personalities, because so on Teams it gets lost. You're in a conversation, you're there for a purpose. So, the call's over, you're gone. And so it was nice to get to understand people's personalities.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to rewind back to Mykonos a couple of years ago.
Don't.
No, it's wonderful. It was wonderful. But I remember, literally, I turned up.
We can make a redo. I mean,
yeah, let's go back. So I remember turning up, and it was literally the first time that I had met anyone at Coreteam, right? So I literally turned up, and everyone's like, "Rebecca, you're kind of
tall, man.
You're kind of tall. You're a lot taller than I expected you to be." And I was thinking, what size are my heels? But it was just so funny how some people are like, "Oh, you're just how I expected you to be." And it's like, you're really tall, Becca. You're really tall. Maybe I am. But yeah, it is funny though. Like, you expect somebody to be a certain way, but then when you meet them,
I think Rob was the surprise this time. Everybody met Rob, and we were surprised. I saw Rob, and I had to literally do that to talk to him.
Oh,
yeah,
Victoria.
Oh my God. Victoria's tall as well, is she?
I was like,
yes.
I think she uses the camera. She uses the camera like this on an angle that she looks really short.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Way.
Yeah,
Well,
when I
as
saw
well,
it,
I should have come on this trip then.
here from the planning and organizing team, we heard some of the challenges they faced, but it took putting it together. The most rewarding moments for them once we made it to the trip. Now I want to dive into that aspect more. Exactly what happened. Everything that happened in Istanbul is not going to stay in Istanbul. We're going to talk about it right now. And my first question is, were there any moments, and you guys already got ahead of me, but it's okay, you can double tap on them or give me something new. Were there any moments that made you think, I'll never forget this? And I want to throw it to you.
Luke falling asleep on the yacht. and actually getting left on the yacht. So it left us, we finished the whole day's trip, got to the end of it, we all got off, we're all walking away. And the boat's actually, the yacht's left the pier, it's turning around, it's literally 20-30 meters off, and Wood's like, and I think it was Rami, he's like, where's Luke? And he's asleep on the yacht upstairs. Like,
Was he actually?
Yes.
yes.
You guys might not know
We left the yacht. Yeah, we left the yacht already asking, where's Luke? Is he ahead? Yes, he's ahead. Let's go. Hey, Luke, anyone see Luke? And suddenly,
He was there on the boat.
funny.
and suddenly we look at the yacht and we see this.
And I even asked him, I was like, did you wake up and you went to ask the crew to bring you back? And he said, no, they found me. They found me. They had to wake me up. There's no way.
And that was the first one on that day off the boat. The second one was also from the day off the boat, the yacht, is Michael pretending like he's got a stomach bug when he actually had a hangover and didn't come on the boat.
He didn't go on the boat.
No, he pretended all day like he's got a stomach bug and this and that, and then at the end of the day he's like sitting there smiling and we're like, dude, and he's like, yeah, I had a hangover.
He was worried he was going to not last the boat, right? Motion.
Yeah.
Core
So
team,
on the fun side, those two things.
all about team building and bonding and community, but you guys left my boy Luke on the boat asleep.
Exactly.
It's true.
I blame Rami. Like I think Rami had said Rami went to check everyone, and then he put Rob in charge, which was a complete error. And Rob's obviously stuck his head up and into where and didn't see Luke.
So I did actually see him on the top, and I poked him and said, "We're deboarding, or we're getting off the boat." He kind of looked up and went, and I took that as that job is done, and then left to go downstairs. But and then I asked him, "What happened to you after I poked you?" And he had no recollection that he'd been poked or he'd woken up. So yeah.
That is funny.
Well, actually, for me, a surprise was Anand. Anand is a king of the dance floor. So we have a new king of the dance floor, Isaiah. If you ever go party and you want a dance floor mate, Anand is the guy to call.
For me, that wasn't a surprise. He every time he's off and I ask him what his plans are, it's always some party with his DJ friends. So I put two and two together and thought, I think this guy likes to party. So
Well, wait, Raul said he's the new king of the dance floor. So I'm wondering who was the previous king.
Oh, it was Raul. that's why he spoke up about it.
No, they say no. I don't take that. I don't take that. But okay, the people keep attributing that to me. But okay.
I'm surprised that those of you that went to the hammam didn't say the hammam was an experience that you'd remember. Like you pretty much saw each other naked, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's not go into that.
Imagine how close you are now as colleagues. Now that you've all seen each other in, bikinis and shorts and in the swimming pool and in the sea.
I don't know about this, but we signed a disclosure contract between all of the guys. We said what happens in here will stay in here. So
yeah.
To be honest, we were not as derobed as we were in the spa of the hotels when we were doing the hammam. So, but that definitely for me is the experience that I'll remember, because it was a first for me and it was amazing. I loved it, and we all shared it together. And everyone came out. We did enter the hammam a little bit hungover and a little bit weary-eyed because we had been drinking the night before, and we emerged reborn. So yeah, for me that's the one thing that really sticks, that will stick with me, and I'm telling everybody now, you need to go to Turkey and check out these hammams.
Me too,
100%.
exactly the same. It was amazing.
100%. Yeah.
And for us ladies was a bit different, because initially some of us started to say, now I'll keep my bikini on. And in the middle, we just, freedom! So we are best friends forever now.
Yeah. Now we can sleep.
Exclusive.
I think one of the things that stood out for me, or that I'll remember probably for the rest of my life, I think, is it was actually a statement that one person made in the team. You know, we went to the Blue Mosque, and it was Tanzi. You know, it was her dream. It's been a dream all her life to not just go to that mosque, but pray for 5 minutes at that mosque. And the fact that we were able to make that dream come true, like I think about that moment every day.
And she's just the sweetest, so she absolutely deserved to have had that experience. My goodness.
Yeah,
She said that she's become a minor celebrity in her village.
yeah, and
She should be.
thanks to
She's
you,
amazing.
Paul, right? Because I remember that, and I remember you saying to her, because we had to run because the guide was moving forward, and I remember you saying, "You guys go ahead, I'll stay with her, and we'll catch you up later. Don't worry." And you stay there behind her. I remember that. That was a good one. Yeah.
True.
It's just little things, right? We that was just 5 minutes out of my time, but you know, it's something that made a difference to her for her lifetime. And I think Ines touched on it earlier. We sometimes lose perspective of what a privileged life we live, you know. And you know, when we ask somebody in the West, "What's your dream?" They say, "Oh, I want to buy a Lamborghini," or "I want to go and buy a big house," or you know, "I want to go and buy a Rolex," or whatever it is. And then you know, you look at the dreams of her dream is so humble. You know, to wanting to go to a player of worship somewhere else in the world and to remember God for 5 minutes. You know, that's truly a humbling experience.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
So
Well,
I
you know,
noticed that you guys have company awards that you guys gave out over the trip as well. I didn't see any King of the Dance Floor. I didn't see any Ultimate DJ. There were reports that the highlight of the trip was Paul's playlist. That report did come from Paul himself.
Allegedly.
It was definitely my playlist, because as soon as Luke and Rami and Raul took control, everybody fell asleep and we came back.
no, I never took control. I never took control. Wait. Let's be honest, guys. I never took control.
You're not claiming that music role.
No, I'm not electing Paul as the DJ of the. Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
No, listen,
Please tell
with
me.
regards to these awards, I think that I seriously would like to question the integrity of some of the results.
Me
I think the person, it's amazing how the person who was in
Voted
charge of
by the
counting the
people.
votes
Voted
won
by
most of the
people.
competitions.
So we got the Sunshine Award, but there's no names on these awards. So I
That was Alvin.
Oh, yeah.
Alvin. We got the Ultimate Team Cheerleader Award. I was
That was
I
Raul. He got the pom-poms.
for the person who's always cheering others on and boosting the team. We got the Meeting Phantom Award. With the
That was
person who
Rami.
always in meetings, but never with the campaign.
That was
Yeah,
not me.
that
was
is-
Paul.
That, yeah.
Is that one accurate? We got Paul winning that
No,
one.
not 100%.
Yes, that was accurate.
Without doubt, Paul.
Let's skip this.
I think that Meeting Phantom Award was the only award that was a clear winner. You know, when I do things, the thing is, this should tell you about me. When I want to win things, I don't win them in halves. You know, I do it to go all the way.
Hold on.
Maybe by a mile. You know,
That was
there
the
wasn't
one
even
with
any,
most votes.
there was none of this
Exactly.
equal with 4 people, or it was so close. It was no. He's the clear outright winner by 35 votes with only 30 votes going in.
Yeah.
No competition.
Actually, the awards, as I was something that we came up last year. It was the first time we did it, and they were the best teammate, best performer, and the best core teamer. And we evolved since last year to this year. So we kept some serious awards for the best teammates on each department, best core teamer, and we added these fun ones to make the team have a bit of fun around it. So.
And although Rebecca didn't
resulted well.
attend, she did win the Company Swiss Army Knife Award.
Yep.
So if anybody has a problem, they never come to me. They basically go to Rebecca. So you know, she's the new boss of the company. I'm going. See you later, guys.
Yeah, the
It's nice
Jackable
knowing you.
trades was for Rebecca.
That's right, follow me,
Yeah.
Paul. God.
Congrats, Becca.
Yeah,
I know
well,
most
you
of
know,
you. Go ahead.
but they do say, you know, jack of all, master of none. But Paul, better than a.
Master of one.
There you go. But I am still waiting for my army knife because I actually do love a Swiss army knife, just to let you know.
I know the award should come with a Swiss Army knife. I think for sure.
Apparently you did. Is that right, Paul? Or are you just joking with me? Did I get a Swiss
No.
army knife?
Yeah, I actually have it inside. It's still waiting for you to be delivered to you.
I love a Swiss army knife.
Wow. I don't know.
I'm pretty good with a knife and a gun, by the way.
Hence, James doesn't spend enough time at home.
No, James.
He's scared.
James. The moment I retrieved my Swiss Army knife, the only thing that I actually got from this trip, because I didn't get to go because of my husband, by the way, I'm going to use it on him. So
I know
They'll come back.
many of you have been on multiple of these trips together already. So this can apply to someone that's here or maybe someone that's not here in this discussion right now. But I'm curious, what's something that you learned about a colleague that you didn't know before?
I discovered that Maria can't take naps because she doesn't show up to dinner if she goes for a nap.
I think
Yeah.
Maria, this is
Agreed.
evident. You needed a rest, mate. I think you fell asleep at midday every day.
Yeah, she went for a nap. I'm gonna
A
just
power
15
nap.
15 minutes power nap. I'll be back. Half an
3
hour,
hours
1
later.
hour, dinner time. Where's Maria? She fell
I would have
asleep.
known as soon as she said 15 minutes. I would have known.
yeah.
At least we knew where she was and she was asleep. But like one of the biggest things I learned in the trip was that we have people in our team that can get lost from the front door of a restaurant. So you can get to the restaurant and they get lost from going outside to inside of the door, and they somehow get lost. And it's just like I was amazed by it. I like to see multiple people just absolutely, completely dazed and not knowing where they are, and then get lost and not be found for half an hour. So that was interesting.
Wow.
Well, we also learned from Porto that you should never let Maria lead. She will make you walk 1.5 miles to go 20 yards.
Oh, that was
That was
Lisbon. That was
Lisbon.
Lisbon.
That was
That was
Lisbon,
Lisbon.
Okay,
We went
sorry.
up and down, up and down, up and down.
It
before
looks
dinner.
similar. We let it slide.
How was this trip different than the last one or the one before it? And then is there anything that you would add from previous years to maybe a future year that we didn't see this year?
I had quad bikes.
They were the
Yeah,
best thing.
Dude, but we went to when we went to Mykonos. I remember on the first day, I was standing there with Joe, and a few people had already arrived, and they're like, "Oh, let's call a taxi to get to that place. Get a taxi." I'm looking around and I see a few people going around in quad bikes, and I was like, I walked past the quad bike shop earlier. So I said, "Guys, I'll be back in a second." So I decided to walk around the corner. Went around the corner, and next thing you know, I've got this massive quad bike that I've come back on. And I think, Raoul, did you come back with me? Come with me to get the second one. So they're all waiting for a taxi, and I turn up in a quad. The whole island is like 5 square miles, right? So what do you need a taxi for? So I hired that quad bike for 3 days, and that we were just off on quads everywhere. That's where Rebecca and Maria got intimate at 3 o'clock in the morning when Rebecca was drunk, and I think
Honestly, it was wonderful. I mean, try driving on a quad bike when you've gone out for. Sorry, let me start. You've got up, you've had breakfast. You've chilled by the pool. You've then gone and got changed. You've then gone on a boat all day. You've literally been snorkeling. Then you come home, you have a shower. Then you go and have a beautiful dinner. Then you go and have a few drinks. Then you go and dance the hours away. You've had a wonderful time. What is more better than finishing a complete day and night off with getting on a quad bike, watching the sun come up? Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
you'll notice she said, "Watch the sun come up and not go down."
No, up,
Of course,
up,
of
up, up.
I heard her.
Huh?
I heard her.
Yeah.
And
It
I
was
said
very early.
The boat.
in Mykonos.
I have to say that the boat is always
Oh, the boat's a winner.
a highlight. We had
Yeah.
it. We had it in Mykonos. We had it this year. That's a highlight. Usually, people really enjoy the boat ride and stopping, going for a dive. The water element, I think it's a good one.
100%. Do you remember when we first when we went to Mykonos and Bourget? I mean, he'd never been on a boat before, similarly to people on this trip that we've just had now. And he just said it was the best day of his life. He just absolutely loved everything about it. And I just think being on a boat, unless you're one of those people who does get motion sickness, but if you're not one of those people, being on a boat, being with nature, being on the water, I don't think you can get any better.
No, it doesn't
I
get
think,
better than that.
We in the last one we tried a little bit of culture, so we had a bit more culture, then a bit more fun, and I think we realised that our team may like to talk about the fact that they like culture, but you know, if it's more than half an hour, it's a little bit too much. So, that was a big lesson learned. You know, like yes, have some culture, but really, it's more for Instagram than it is for inside. I've been to this place. It's a bucket list thing. So I think that the lesson learned is, it's that when we get to know each other better when we're having more fun.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got to create more environment or an environment where the experiences are first, and where people are naturally forced to sort of let loose, and that's what the water does. It brings that freedom, and you're all jumping like your little kids, and for that. And in fact, it's I don't know any other environment where you would see grown men and women acting like kids and jumping with doing power bombs or whatever it is into the sea. So I think that's a lesson learned. I think I said it to Rami on the way back. I think Rami's just created the blueprint of what an ideal trip looks like. So we may change location, but the experience will evolve around these sort of things.
So I have one more question. We're getting towards the end of our conversation here. Maybe we hear from one or two people. On an individual level, is there anything after this trip that you would have done differently? You personally, maybe you decided to take a 15-minute nap that lasted a little longer than 15 minutes. Maybe you thought your playlist was fire and it maybe wasn't so fire. Anything individually that we would do differently? Because I know when I go on a trip, sometimes I'm like, man, wish I would have done this instead of that. Anything come to mind?
As an individual, not as a.
As an individual.
I would take more money with me to shop. Basically, I would.
I wish I shopped a bit more.
Maybe not get into any fights with shopkeepers.
Oh my God, that's it.
What'd you say, Ines? Did you have something?
No, I was right there with Maria with the shopping. I wish I've done a little bit more shopping, but well, and also I should have been more careful jumping into the sea, because I definitely needed some rescue. Thanks Rami also for that, because I was struggling in that sea. I'm not joking. For a minute I was like,
yes,
it was really hard. I was like,
strong currents. Yeah, there was.
This is embarrassing. I was like, oh my God, but it all went fine. So thanks to my colleagues.
Oh, good.
I think I would have bought more Turkish delight, because I didn't realize just how delicious it was until my partner bubbled up Turkish delight.
Oh,
Turkish delight. So I haven't tasted Turkish delight like you can find in Turkey before. So I would have bought more of that, a lot more of that, because my partner's eaten 90% of it. I've been left with the dregs.
Oh no, just the powder.
Yeah. For me, it was really quite a surprise how much of lightweights these guys are, the whole team. So it was like really difficult to do a lot of the things that I wanted to push these guys to do. But yeah, maybe next time we'll discover the limits a bit more.
Actually,
I had a really good strategy. Like I would go to the bar with them, the very first bar, and I would see, like what they want to do, and I'd buy a bottle of gin, put it on the table, and they'd start getting smashed, and I'd be like, "See you later, guys. I'll see you tomorrow." And I'd wake up nice and early in the morning, go to the sauna and steam, and these guys are waking up with headaches, and so yeah, maybe a bit more of that. Unless you had a proposal at one of the restaurants, right? I think one of the waiters he served you a tequila alongside a marriage proposal, no?
Oh yes, I did have a marriage proposal, but I decided not to, to come back and work for a bit longer. It was funny. I know.
Well, I have a few more questions for you guys. So this one's important, and it relates to the culture and mission of Coreteam. So, stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, do any of you feel more connected to Coreteam's mission or values after this trip? And if so, how?
Yes, I think that everyone has a common answer to that. Not only us, but across the company. I think everyone understands better the business, the values, the culture, and are more engaged because of that as well. They understand better everything around them and feel it better as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, without a doubt. I will repeat my first sentence. If you talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk. So I think everyone is more aware. Is now more aware and confident that we are what we say we are. We're not just talking the talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
sorry,
Go ahead,
sorry.
Ina.
There's something that I wanted to say. So I speak with people every day. They're looking for a change. They're looking for a new role. That's my daily basis. And one of the reasons people are most likely going to tell me that it's one of the reasons that's making them think of a change is that they don't feel like they are actually a part of their company. So just like I was saying, especially working remote, it's hard to have. But there's a lot of people working full time in office that they struggle the same exact way. So when I'm doing my pitch, I always am proud to talk about our values, how they actually translate in our daily activities, and it's the trip. It's one of the ways that I can illustrate that, and it just makes me proud that when people join, they actually have the exact experience that I just told them about. And a lot of people actually are surprised by that still. So I have a lot of people that I've interviewed and that now being here, they still reach out and say, you know what, when you were talking about how you do this, now you do that, I wasn't quite sure. And now that they can actually live it. And so that makes a huge change, even like as a recruiter, when you are telling people, yes, this is something that we can offer you and that we are, making a conscious effort to even better ourselves on. And yeah, that makes a huge impact on like daily activities in hiring as well.
Yeah, very well said. So now looking ahead, a couple questions. What does the future hold for Coreteam's in-person events in general, beyond just the annual company trip?
Maldives.
I was telling these guys earlier that I discovered some really strong swimmers, so I will charter a plane from India to Maldives. If you can all swim there, that would be great. And then we'll
Don't count with Ines. Don't count with Ines to swim.
I mean, I'll still go, you know what?
No, I think this isn't the only trip we do, right? This is the trip where the whole company gets together. There's other things that happen on a quarterly basis where teams go out together locally. We have individual team. The Portuguese team get together quite often. So it's we're trying to encourage more where people get out of their house. Get away from technology and get away from a computer screen and actually meet people in person. So there's also industry events that we take part in. And whenever we do industry events, again, we'll try to take a team that's relevant, but it's really, about, it's going to continue to grow, but, we'll see how it develops over the next 5 years. It also depends on how many people we grow by.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So just to wrap this part of the discussion up, maybe we can go around real quick. Give me one place that you would love to see as a future destination for this Coreteam company trip.
No.
One. Give me one.
Can I? Mexico.
Mexico.
Mexico is a
Next.
great one, actually.
Ines is going to Mexico as well. Rami.
I go to Mexico at least every other year, so I'd be down for Mexico.
Mexico.
I love
He
Mexico.
explained it. He already knows it. So
I didn't see that.
I think though I'm going to just for logistical purposes I'm going to select somewhere in the Middle East, like in India or Oman or somewhere like that. That's more central to where we're based. But I can get on board to Mexico very quickly.
The planner in him is saying over here, but the party in him is saying Rebecca?
Well, I'd like to go fishing in the Seychelles or somewhere like that, or maybe Zanzibar or something, but highly unlikely. I mean, I think because I'd love to see everyone there. I think if we went to somewhere like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Oman, I think everyone could get there with a bit of ease. But of course, Paul, question.
I have some. I think next year's one. We want to have some fun, base it around team building and things like that. So I've been speaking to some local camping sites in London and Reading, and there's a few farms that are available where they have some great experiences. They have a nice swamp where they have a little beach built next to the swamp, so we can have water polo and things like.
Listen, Paul, don't diss the English countryside. We would have a very nice time. We have a very green and pleasant land here. So
that swamp sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Especially with the weather like this.
I was sold on swamp.
Yeah.
I would love Mexico. But for me, any country would be, for any destination, I'm up for it. Mexico, Tahiti, Seychelles, Maldives. If it has surf.
True.
Fantastic.
Funny you mentioned that. I hear Puerto Rico has some pretty nice surf, actually. I hear Puerto Rico.
There you go.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's go. I'm up
I
for
think it
it.
makes sense.
And hopefully, Isaiah, you can join us next year, right?
Yes, God
Definitely.
willing, that's the plan. That's especially after this conversation. How could I miss it? How could I miss it? I'm already there. I'm like,
We're all going to come to your house.
Yeah, we're
We're
gonna
going
go
to
to
come
Puerto
see
Rico.
you.
yeah, exactly.
And was it Costa Rica or Puerto Rico?
Oh, this guy. Everybody wants to say Costa Rica. I don't know why.
Uh, Costa Rica would be a good destination.
I could get
also.
on board to
That would
Costa
be good.
Rica. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, all right, gang. It's been an incredible conversation. Like, just to recap it, at the beginning of this conversation, I asked you all to give me one word to describe the trip. We heard connection, we heard engagement, we heard community, we heard discovery, we heard bonding. And that goes into account not just for this trip, but also the previous 2 trips, which I also missed out on: Greece, Portugal, Istanbul. This is something that Coreteam does for their employees, for their team members, for their work family every single year, 3 years running. And it's just one of the ways that Coreteam makes sure to prioritize people, connections, and real relationships in this remote international environment. So Maria, Ines, Raul, Rebecca, Rami, Paul, thank you all so much for your time, for your genuine responses. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to miss next year now. I have to do everything in my power to be there.
Definitely not.
Any final thoughts before we get up out of here? Any final things you'd like to leave us with? Anybody?
Looking forward for the next one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get
That's
planning.
the sentiment.
Let's get it done. Let's get it
Let's
done.
get planning.
There it is.
That's
And for all of you
Lovely
listening,
day.
absolutely.
we really appreciate you. There's going to be more Core Team content just like this on the way. We appreciate you. Hope to see you soon. Until then, take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
guys.
Coming here in Istanbul, it's been an amazing experience for me. It was my first time out of the country, and for me, it was the highlight was being on a yacht and having a time of my life. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So this trip to me has been very intense in a good way, because I've been having the chance to get to know everyone that I work every day, and we are having like bonding experience, like going to a Haman ritual, having like deep conversations, laughing about random things. So it's a really good opportunity to have like a team spirit and creating bonding with everyone.
To summarize our trip here in Istanbul, Turkey, it is fun and also the best way to know everyone in the Coreteam family.